Hello, welcome back to another day of Vlogmas. And today we are talking about wintry books. So these are all books set during the wintry, snowy months. And I thought this would be fun because I live on the East Coast and it's currently December, obviously Vlogmas. And we don't have any snow right now in Virginia, but I am manifesting snow for us. I like snow, especially when I can work from home in my cozy little blanket and my cozy socks and just have a nice warm cup of coffee and just work from home in the snow. Not in the snow, in my house, but you know what I mean. Or maybe you live in a place that has a lot of snow and you just want something that matches the season. Or maybe you live somewhere where it doesn't snow and you want to have the same snowy vibes as everybody else that gets snow. But for whatever reason, I have 6 of these wintry, snowy books for you. My first wintry recommendation is An Unwanted Guest by Sherry Lapina, and this is very much the "and then there were none" trope, but with a little bit of a twist. Also, if you're crunching, you know, it's indie, you already know. An Unwanted Guest is basically all of these people at a bed and breakfast, and it snows and they're snowed in, nobody can leave, and then somebody ends up dead and they're trying to figure out who it is, but it has to be somebody who's there at the bed and breakfast with them. So they have to figure it out before the next day and before the power comes back on and they're able to call the police. This one has so many snowy vibes and it's pretty thrilling, but it also has that cozy mystery element to it. I just really enjoy this one. And Sherry Lapina is hit or miss for me, and the "and then there were none" trope is kind of hit or miss for me, but this one is, I think, one of the first of that style of story I read. So I might think differently of it if I read it now, having read a lot of thrillers. But when I read it, when I was like first getting into thrillers, it really blew me away and I really enjoyed the story and it had some fun twists. My next wintry recommendation is No Exit by Taylor Adams, and this is a thriller that is about a girl who is trying to drive home and she gets stuck in a snowstorm, and so she pulls off in this rest stop. And there's some different characters in this rest stop, but essentially she's stuck there, she's snowed in, and she is walking around this rest stop and she sees this van, and in the back of the van is a little girl who has been captured. So obviously whoever captured her is in the rest stop, so she has to try and figure out what she needs to do to save this little girl and herself and everybody at the rest stop, and it is heart pumping. And if you've read Taylor Adams, you know that it is just twist after twist after twist. And this was also made into a movie, I think for like, I don't know, HBO or Hulu or something. And I enjoyed that. I know a lot of people didn't, but just don't go in expecting the same thing as the book, because there was plenty of things that changed it to where I didn't really see what was coming. I didn't really know what was going to happen next. But I like them both. I recommend them both. I read this during the summer, but I wish I had read it during the winter season because I feel like it would just give you that much more angst and like thrilling feelings if it were also cold while you're reading it, or maybe if it was snowing while you're reading it. My next recommendation is Misery by Stephen King, and if you don't know the plot of this story, then I don't know what to tell you, but it's a pretty popular thriller. It's a story and a plotline that has been repeated and redone multiple times in multiple different ways, but it just gives you those nice snowy elements. And this has also been made into a movie with Kathy Bates, and it is phenomenal. So I recommend, once again, both the movie and the book. Oh, do you need another treat? All right, this is the last one. It's the last one in there. Okay, next we have a historical fiction book, and it's The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. This is one of the best books that I read this year. You'll probably hear me talk about it in more videos, but it's set in Maine in the 1700s during wintertime, and Martha Ballard is a midwife who is called to help with a case. They found a man dead along the banks of the frozen river. And this man that they found dead is also a suspect in 2 assault cases in the area against women. And so Martha Ballard, being one of the few people in the town with any sort of medical experience as a midwife, she has to kind of help them and kind of unravel these secrets of this tight-knit community, while also battling against the fact that she's a woman in medicine in the 1700s. I love this. I love the snowy, wintry Maine town. Her husband is goals in this, just pure goals. And this is based off of Martha Ballard's life and her diary entries. So this is historical fiction, but it's based off of a real person. And then the last thriller I'm going to talk about is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is about a married couple who has been kind of fighting, not really sure if their relationship is going to continue, and they kind of go away to this like Airbnb or this little cabin that they book in the snowy mountains, and they try to like reconnect. And while they're away on this trip in Scotland trying to mend their marriage, they realize that they both have a lot of secrets that they've been keeping from each other. And so they're snowed in together in this cabin, trying to figure out what the other person is hiding. And this had a really good twist to it. I did not see it coming, and I still think about this one sometimes, and I definitely want to reread it. And then my last recommendation is another historical fiction, and it's The Grey Alone by Kristen Hanna. And this is really good for people who are maybe just dipping their toes into historical fiction, because it's set in the 1970s, so it's not like super far back. It's not like The Frozen River where it's like in the 1700s. But this is about a family who moves to Alaska to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of the world, and the husband in the family also suffers from PTSD. So they want to be alone, they want to live off the grid, and so they join this very small but spread out community in Alaska. Alaska itself is almost like a character in the book because there is such treacherous winters and there is so much hardship trying to get through these hard winters in Alaska that at some points you're not really sure if they're gonna make it. And in the book, they talk about how a lot of people don't make it through the winter in their community, or how people will move from the lower states and think, oh, I'm gonna live off the grid, and then they barely make it 6 months. So between the harsh winters and the deteriorating mental health of the father, this family goes through a lot of hardships, and it's a very sad book. I cried in at least 2 different parts of the book. But the simultaneous danger and beauty of winter in Alaska just makes this such a good book, and definitely one, if you have any interest in Alaska whatsoever, read this. And even if you don't, you will want to go there and learn all of the things about Alaska after reading this. All right, those are all of the books I'm going to talk about today. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books and what did you think of them. Also, let me know if you have any wintry book recommendations. All right, I'm gonna go feed this girl because she is hungry.